Hey Carnivore Tribe, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little different. I just had some epiphanies and I decided that I wanted to sit down and do a quick video just to give you an insight as to what I'm thinking and some epiphanies that I had. So, I almost quit carnivore. Yeah, I almost quit carnivore. I was doing everything right. I was doing the intermittent fasting. I was doing lots of protein in my diet. Yeah, I almost quit. And that was until I tweaked just a few little things. So if you're curious and you want to know what not to do, then I invite you to stick around because those little tweaks have made all the difference. I just had an epiphany. And it's a pretty huge epiphany. I wrote down a few notes because I want to stay on track. But today I was out back at my house cleaning up the leaves. And for most of you, that's probably not, a big task or like a big wow. Or you're thinking like, okay, Brenda, like what's the deal? Well, it's a big deal because when I started carnivore for the second time, October 3rd in 2024, I thought I was doing everything right. And initially, I lost 22 pounds, which I was really excited about because at that point, I'd been suffering from adrenal insufficiency for about 14 years, I guess. Let me think. So 2010. So it was about 2013 when fully diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency, stage 4, in hospital for 3 months. And since then, it's been a constant struggle. Everyday life had to be planned, and basically like anyone who knew me knew that I spent 90% of my time in bed, but anyone who didn't really know me, they would see me up and about and I'd show a good face, but that's because everything was planned. So today there's been quite a bit of wind the last couple of days and some rain, so we had a lot of leaves fall in the backyard. And over this last 3 years of living in Mexico pretty well, it has, I was hoping, because this is totally sacred land. There's no ifs or ands about it, and I was really hoping that would help me propel my healing that much quicker. I do a lot of things in my life to try to promote my healing. I've always believed that there's got to be something out there. I'm just missing that little link. I've used radiant technology. I give myself a treatment almost daily. I use patches. This little patch, my gosh, with my mom, it did amazing things. She was pre-dementia and declining rather quickly. And we put one of these on the back of her neck, which I wear every single day. And within 3 days, she came out of her bedroom and said, "I'm happy." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I'm happy. I have my mind back. I'm not stuck in my head anymore and in my body. I can talk, I can interact." And from that day forward, she got better and better and better. But that's not my point of the video today. It's just when I was out like cleaning up the leaves and coming back in fully sweating, like second shower for the day, I thought to myself, before I would have had to literally, not necessarily plan when I was going to clean up the backyard, but it definitely wasn't a priority on my list because, my energy bank was more important. And what I mean by that is I'd have to spend my energy wisely. So if I decided that, oh my gosh, I need something, I need to run out to the grocery store, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be the typical person that would just jump in my car and go do it, because I'd have to sit down and ask myself, do I have the energy to actually go to the store? And, I'd look at families that have kids and I just think to myself, that mother's running around to the grocery store, to Costco, to all these different places like Old Navy or whatever stores just to get their kids clothes because the kids are growing up so quickly and growing out of their clothes. And I'm like, how do people have the energy to do that? And then I realized once I was diagnosed with adrenal insufficiency why I was so unusual and why I didn't even have the energy to go out with friends for dinner most times. I'd have to plan it. I'd have to say to myself, okay, if I need to go to the grocery store and get this, do I have any other plans either today or over the next 3 days? Sounds weird, but it's true. When your gas tank in your body only has so much gas, you have to spend it wisely. So I would sit and just kind of look over my calendar and say to myself, okay, what do I have for the next 3 days? Okay, I have that planned in 3 days, but it's not a big outing. It could take maybe half an hour. So, okay, I can jump in the car and I can do that. But wait a minute, if I get delayed, say I'm stuck in traffic for an hour, will I be okay? Maybe I better not do that today. And then I'd be like, oh, I got that bill to pay. Here in Mexico, pretty well, not all, but a lot of bills you have to go in person and pay, which I kind of like. It's the old system, right? But I don't want to lose train of my thoughts, sorry. But I just like, I have to plan everything. And today going out and doing a major amount of cleanup and leaves and bat droppings and bird droppings and fruit that's smashed onto the concrete and staining it. I got out there and I scrubbed down everything. It took me about an hour and a half, but it felt good. It felt so good. And typically after doing that, I would get this little literal drain in my body and nausea that would show up. And that's even after what I would consider I'm pretty close to being healed, But since carnivore, I just can't get over the leaps and bounds that I have made with my energy levels. And interestingly enough, with my fear levels, because living when you have a very limited gas tank, you're always on, you're always being the gatekeeper to that energy. And if something takes too much energy, you've got to set a boundary and you got to get out of that area, or you got to stop doing it, or you can't go do it, whatever it is. But I feel like I don't need to be the gatekeeper anymore. And maybe that's naive. Maybe it's a little too soon to do that. But I just can't get over the difference in the energy that I have. I got up this morning, I meditated for an hour, I had my breakfast, I went out, I had a shower, had my breakfast, went out into the backyard, started cleaning that up, got really into it. Hour and a half later, come in sweating, need my second shower for the day. Not untypical for this region, but to have the energy to sit here and just even want to set up the equipment and talk to you, it's another like aha moment that in the past I wouldn't have had this energy. So, anyone out there who either has adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue, I also had been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. But anyone who is struggling with their energy levels, like, you really got to give this a try. And I went from trying everything, a whole foods diet to almost veganism pretty well, raw food diet, a year of juicing, only organic fruits, and that's all I had was juice 3-4 times a day. I loved it. It still makes my mouth water, funny enough. But then I transitioned to keto, lost a little bit, but every time that I transitioned into something, it would initially help my body, and I would lose some water weight, and I would lose a little bit more weight, and I think, okay, this is it. And I'm really good at sticking to a plan. Like, you tell me what I need to do, and I'll follow it to a T, provided it's most beneficial for me. I had to learn that over the years. But the ironic thing is I did start carnivore in, I think it was September of 2022. And initially I had lost 22 pounds fairly quickly, felt amazing. Went and got my hormones tested. My hormones, my thyroid in particular, was over medicated by almost 4 times more than it should have been. Quickly got rid of that doctor and found a new doctor who lowered my thyroid. But in lowering my thyroid, it caused my body to blow up. So I ended up not only gaining back the 22 pounds, but I ended up gaining way more. And I think the top number, because I stopped taking pictures, I stopped recording it, I didn't want to know how heavy I was getting. I was just like, if I keep focusing on it, I'm going to get heavier. So my belief is, stop focusing on the things you don't want, start focusing on the things that you do want, but focus on them with an energy that you have a belief that you already have that. And I started doing that and following the carnivore diet. eating all proteins, having a bulletproof coffee in the morning so that I could do a 16-hour fast. And I thought I was doing everything right. And unfortunately, what that resulted in was my body slowly, gradually adding more weight. So like I said, I think I got to about 257 pounds. I don't give up easily. Like, I keep to it. I try to clock what's happening with my body. I'm a math and science girl, data girl. Maybe not too stringent now as far as record keeping, but in the past I would have been, Excel charts and everything else. But I do like to keep track just so the mind doesn't play any head games with me. And I started tracking and seeing that, yeah, every month I'd be up at least 0.7 pounds or something like that. So it didn't take long before I realized that carnivore wasn't working for me. The problem was, it was a carnivore diet that wasn't most beneficial for me, and I didn't know that at the time. So since joining the Steak and Butter Gang in October of 2024, I have now officially released 40 pounds, and very grateful for that. And I know I have probably maybe another 40 to go. It depends on my body composition. I'm not really stuck on a number. Already I feel so much better, and I know there's more opportunity to feel even better. And if that means that my body has released 40 pounds in order to do that, then I'm game. So again, my whole point of this video is really to ask yourself, like, if you have an autoimmune condition or like something like adrenal fatigue, I believe, based on my science experiment with myself over this not even year, it's, let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're looking at 8 months. In 8 months, I effortlessly, no struggle whatsoever, released 40 pounds. I do struggle still sometimes where I don't feel like eating. So I might do a 1 meal a day on those days, but I try not to do that, because what I was doing when I first started carnivore back in 2022 was, I thought fasting was good. I thought eating tons of protein was good. I did that, and then when I had that hiccup with the thyroid, I started backing off on protein ever so slightly, and then over time, I was eating maybe, a ribeye for lunch, maybe 10 ounce, and for dinner, maybe 10 shrimp. It literally was not enough food to fuel my body, but I felt good. Living in a hot climate, sometimes you don't feel like eating, but I felt good. The problem was I kept gaining weight, which was frustrating. So I did the one-on-one coaching with Coach Raymond, Steak and Butter Gang, and I had a lot of epiphanies just in the first call. And the first one really was that I was not eating enough. So I started feasting, like literally fueling my body to the point where it was almost disgusting. People would look at me and think, I don't even eat that much, Brenda. And I'm like, in my head, yep, because you're under eating. So now, and I don't eat like that every day, but I have periods where I feast, and then my body feels satisfied, and then it lowers a little bit. I end up losing weight, and then all of a sudden I'll feel like I'm starving again. So then I fuel my body and I feast, and I give it what it needs. So that was one of the biggest epiphanies, was not eating enough. Second of all was not getting enough fat in my diet. I was eating ribeyes, but for someone, especially with adrenal fatigue, especially a woman, especially over 50, like postmenopausal, it's very important to get your fat in. And I don't know all the science behind it yet, but all I know is how my body has reacted. So brown butter bites, my best friend, literally. I don't really enjoy eating plain butter just by itself. I don't know if it's because of the type of butter in Mexico, but it doesn't do anything for me. So I know I won't eat it. So I do make the brown butter bites, and that helps. I fry up lots of bacon, and whenever I get peckish or need more fat in my diet, I either add bacon to the meal or I might have it as a snack. So I want this to be just a short video and really focus to people who are suffering from adrenal fatigue or adrenal insufficiency or anything similar, because it really is like you owe it to yourself to try. Just try for 3 months. And if you're coming from a let's call it an unhealthy diet or a standard American diet, or still have sugars and a lot of processed foods in your diet, maybe go to keto first and start introducing, cleaner meals, and then transition to carnivore. Because when I transitioned to carnivore first thing in 2022, I had no issues with keto flu or anything like that, because I had already gone through all of that with transitioning to keto years ago. So let me just think about what I would suggest. I would suggest first to go to keto. I would suggest that you start getting clean salts in your diet, like Redmond's real salt or Celtic salts. You can do the research on which one you prefer. And start drinking water, not excessively either. Just drink till you quench your thirst. Start introducing more protein in your meals and less vegetables, and slowly transition to the point where you have very little or no vegetables on one meal in the day, and then work to 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day. If you have adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue, do not limit your food. Feast. Feed yourself good, nutritious, healthy food. Actually, the one thing that I have noticed is I love my steaks, but they don't give me the same feeling in my body that just ground beef does. It's surprising. And interestingly enough, ground beef is probably one of the cheapest ways to do this diet. So I fry up my ground beef with Parmesan, shredded Parmesan, and an egg. Turns out delicious. I could eat that for lunch and dinner probably every day of the week. I don't. I add in some shrimp, add in some liver, I add in some variety. But I feel the best actually when I have that hamburger patty, and it's massive. It's like a pound of beef. And I have no trouble eating that now. And so I find that fasting with adrenal fatigue, I tried it when I first joined the Steak and Butter Gang, and my body can't handle it. I did it was either first week or 2 weeks that I was successful in, and I could get up to a 36-hour fast. But my body quickly said to me, you know what, it's burning too much gas in your gas tank. And I was getting nausea again. I was getting exhaustion. And it's a different type of exhaustion. It's hard to explain, but anyone who's suffering from it knows. So I decided to not do the fasting, just go back to fueling my body. And some people need to do that for 6 months, a year, maybe even longer. Heck, this might even be a lifetime thing, and I'm fine with that. I would like to do a little less cooking, so if I could get down to being able to fast, that would be great. Especially on the days, that I want to run out to the beach and you don't have to worry about cooking all day and you're just fasting at the beach with some good water. It's like, hello. But I'm not there yet, and that's okay. So I just keep working on this and learning, and I really want to get the message out there for people who are suffering from adrenal fatigue or adrenal insufficiency. Because I've spent so many years in bed with eye covers on, earplugs in a dark room, cold room, to just try to help manage my illness. And I'm getting to the point that I feel like I don't have it anymore. And it's kind of a scary thing to say, because I don't want to be wrong, but I really believe that with the help of not only this diet, because this diet was the game changer to it all, doing radiant technology treatments daily, that definitely gave me more energy, where I could get up and get out and even research and really go down the rabbit hole of finding out what I could do to help myself. And that led to the patch, and the patch I wear every day. It reactivates my own stem cells, so that's healing my body at a whole other level. And then finally, carnivore, and doing carnivore correctly when you have adrenal fatigue or adrenal insufficiency, meaning don't worry about fasting, don't worry about exercising, make your new exercise naps. And that's hard to say when that's all we've been doing for probably many years. If you're here listening to this and you do have adrenal fatigue, you've probably been suffering for years like I have. It's a very slow dis-ease to heal when it's not supported in the right ways. I've been thinking all these years that I was supporting it in the right ways. In some ways, it did lead me to carnivore, so I can't poo-poo it all, but I just wish I had found carnivore that much sooner. And for a girl who was planning on making this one of her shortest videos to give you an update, obviously I've made it one of my longest, but I hope you stuck around, and if you did, I really appreciate you. And I just want to say thank you so much to those viewers who are leaving comments, because it really makes my day, and it really makes me believe that we can start building community and just, you know, blow this out of the park and learn new things. And you know, as time goes on over these last couple of years, I'm realizing that most of what we've been told is a lie. And I'm really happy that I at least have had a little insight into some of the truths, and that I've been able to experience them for myself and now share with other people. So I'll let you go for today. I hope you enjoyed my little update. And please stay tuned and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you already haven't, because I really, really appreciate the support. Love you guys and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.
Steak on my plate, it's a dream come true. Butter melting down like morning dew.